Namaste, everyone, and welcome to this class, which today is themed around the element of earth. We're going to look at the 5 elements, which originally people thought made up everything that we know of on this planet. We now know there's loads of chemicals, there's loads of complicated ways of splitting things down, but these base elements were originally how people separated things, what they're made of, and we are all made up of a mixture of earth, water, fire, air, and space in between all those things. And obviously a rock is made up of different elements of that to what we are, but essentially there's different parts of those elements, different quantities in everything, and that includes us. So some people are described as more fiery, aren't they, or airheads. So we know that between us, we have different aspects of these elements in us, and we're going to dig deep into them over the next few weeks. And today we're looking at the element of earth. So we're starting from the bottom up, okay, the most solid, the most gross of the elements, and literally from underneath our feet, and then we'll work into the subtler elements over the next few classes. So before we do anything today, unusually, I'm going to get you up on your feet, and I want you to stand on one foot. So you can choose which foot it is. Stand, balance on one foot, take your weight on one foot. Maybe take the arms out to the side and up. See how this feels. Challenging your balance, and do the other foot. Just see how we are. You always have one side that tends to be more wobbly than the other. Yeah, good few wobbles there. Lovely. What we want to do with the earth element, tapping into it, is get grounded, get balanced. Okay, so I want you to just take a little mental note of how that felt, and we're going to come right back down to earth. Now lie down on your mats. Don't worry if you can't see me, you won't need to. And you can choose to have your legs out long, or if it's more comfortable on your lower back, have your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And I want you to feel the earth underneath you. Okay, it might be your yoga mat or your carpet, but you get the idea. We have a sense of being supported underneath. So have your hands resting on your mat beside you, or lightly on your pelvis or tummy. Close your eyes if you want to. Now I want you to start bringing your attention to the breath. Breathing in and out, feeling the belly swell on the inhale. Relaxing down on the exhale. Feel the body move on the earth beneath you, so maybe a little less contact with the mat, then a little more, depending on the inhales and the exhales, how your body changes shape. Okay, so the best way of getting in touch with the element of earth is to come closer to the ground, to get more of us in contact with the ground. And the weather might not be great at the moment, but if you can get outside, you're going to feel the difference. If you ever get the chance to practice nature outside, it feels great to be outside in nature. You feel more connected. We are connected with everything, but in our modern world, we become very disconnected. And lying here on the floor, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the earth element that we're going to bring into our practice today. And I want you to focus on that feeling of the earth beneath you. So I want to think about the qualities of earth. Earth is everything that is solid. It represents the state in nature of things that are solid. It has an element of stability, stillness, of quiet and peacefulness, of coolness. It's the feminine aspect, Earth. So think about those qualities. Geometrically, the element Earth is represented by a square. Think of that stability. It's represented by a square. And feel that support, that stability underneath you. So in our bodies, Earth represents this structure, the skeletal structure, our bones, the tissue, the muscles. We're going to gradually work into them today. And it's connected with the root chakra, this energy center, this chakra, which is at the base of our spine. I'm going to try and connect with that now. So maybe slide your hands just down over onto your hips. And this might be easier to find this posture, this movement we're going to do with feet flat on the floor, knees bent. We can do some pelvic tilts. So noticing the part of the back that isn't touching the floor. So the back arches slightly. It's got this natural S curve to it. So we've got this lumbar curve, which isn't touching the floor. I want you to take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, tilt the hips backwards, the top of the hips backwards. So see if you can flatten out that lumbar spine onto the floor. It's going to feel like the tailbone tilts up. And then as you inhale, release it. Let that arch come back into the lumbar spine. Keep that going. So as you exhale, draw the belly down to the floor, towards the spine. Press the back into the floor. As you inhale, naturally, let that arch come back. So these pelvic tilts, waking up this root area, this earth element in our body. And I want you to see if as you exhale, you can lift the pelvic floor muscles, this web of muscles that's right at the bottom of the torso. It goes across between the hip bones and front and back as well. So between the pubic bone and the tailbone. On the exhale, see if you can squeeze everything up and in, lifting it up. You'll feel maybe the glutes, the buttocks get involved, the tummy gets involved, so really good. Core muscles are waking up. Lovely. And bring that to stillness. Let's bring just the right knee over the chest, have a squeeze in. Squeeze that right knee towards you, linking the fingers around the shin maybe. And then gently stretch the foot up to the sky, so straightening the leg. You can gently support it. Maybe the knee doesn't want to straighten completely. Flex the foot and push through that heel, thinking about growing this foot up from the ground. And then release. Bend the knee, drop that foot back down to the floor. Let's do the same with the left knee. Draw it over the chest, squeeze it in towards you. This also helps press the back a little more into the earth. And then after a few squeezes, let the heel slowly lift towards the ceiling, straightening out the leg, pushing through that heel as best you can. A little bend in the knee and then stretch it up again. See how the back of the legs are feeling today. If you're growing up from your hips out through that heel, and then release down. We're going to come up to sitting, your choice, whether you roll onto your side and press yourself up, or we can work those core muscles even more. We can cross the ankles, hold onto the big toes, and see if you can flip yourself up. Okay, if the core muscles aren't quite there today, it doesn't matter. Press yourself up, come up to sitting. And there's a mudra we can take for each of these elements. Mudra is a gesture that we make with the body, often with the hands. Each of the fingers represents one of the elements, and the ring finger is the one that represents the earth. So I want you to lightly touch your thumb and ring finger together as though you're holding a little seed in between. And this is Prithvi Mudra, or Earth Mudra. And I want you to take your, what should we do first? Your right hand down to the floor. In between, if you've got your legs crossed, then in front of the knee. If you're kneeling or you've got your legs out, it can just be touching down to the floor where it's comfortable. And I want you to take the left hand up and back. And if the neck's good, you can look up at that mudra, that gesture. So the ring finger and thumb are touching and the other fingers extend out. And again, I want you to feel rooted to the ground in all the poses we do today. So think about the sit bones being on the floor, the right fingers are touching and the left fingers lifting up. And you're going into this twist as much as feels okay for you. Okay. And exhale, bring the hand back down to the floor. And let's do that the other side. So the left hand now is staying on the floor, touching the floor in some way. You can keep the mudra, or if it's easier, just put fingers on the floor. And then guide the left hand up and back. And breathe there, breathe into it. Perhaps you come in and out of the twist. If your body doesn't like twisting, go very gently with this. Looking up, reaching up as best you can today. Otherwise, look down at the ground and feel more grounded. This gesture of the earth energy, rooted down but reaching up towards the light. Good. And release the hand down. Place both hands on the floor, palms flat on the floor. Literally grounding ourselves, okay? It's like coming to earth, like an electrical circuit. Brilliant way to feel grounded. And then bring yourself onto all fours. And hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and take a little salute to the earth. So I want you to inhale here, lift the heart a little, look forward, so the back will arch a bit. And then exhale, round the back, draw the hips all the way back towards the heels, best you can, towards child pose. If that's not right for your knees, you can stay much more upright. And then inhale. Let's take it up to high kneeling. Coming up to high kneeling. If you want to pad something up under your knees, you can. Lift the hands up. Breathe in there, reaching out to the sun, and then exhale down to the earth. Bring the hands down to the earth. Inhale in tabletop, neutral posture. Exhale, walk the hands forward, melting the heart down towards the floor. Hips stay up in the air. This is puppy dog pose, half down dog pose, or we can think of it as melting heart. So 2 deep breaths here. On the exhale, let the heart melt down to the floor. Walk your hands back. Tabletop pose. Let's do it all again. Inhale, lift the head, lift the tailbone, let that back curve naturally, gently. And then exhale, rounding the back, drawing the hips back, coming closer to the earth into child pose, if that's okay for you. Ready to rise up. Inhale, come up to high kneeling, or you can stay in tabletop or low kneeling pose if that's not right for you. Exhale, hands come down, feel grounded, touching the earth as you come down, and walk the hands forward. Ready for a delicious stretch in puppy dog. Breathing in, and on the exhale, sinking down towards the floor. This is a lovely squeeze on the shoulder blades. If it doesn't feel lovely, then ease off of it. Okay, melt that heart down. Walking the hands back underneath the shoulders. Good. And before we come up, I want to give the feet a little bit of attention. So I should have done this first. Let's sit down for a second. Poor old feet, get a bit left out. In order to feel grounded, we've got to make the connection with the ground as best we can. So I want you to lift up one of your feet. You can sit in whatever pose makes this easier for you. If you want to sit on a cushion, let's look at our feet. A lot of people don't like doing this. Let's fine. These poor old feet get very neglected. Just give them a little bit of a massage. Maybe use your thumbs to press into some ouchy points. Okay, we hold a lot of tension in our feet. Give them a squeeze. If you don't mind doing this, get your fingers, place them between the toes, give them a wriggle around. Okay, space out those poor little toes that are so often shut into socks or shoes. And if you're wearing special yoga socks or normal socks, if you need to for some reason, still give those feet a bit of an attention. Circle the ankle one way and the other, waking these feet up and placing it gently down. Let's do the other one. So you can do whatever feels good to you. You can rub the feet to warm them up. You can mold them like you've got a bit of Play-Doh in your hand. Squeeze them, press them. And it should feel nice. It should feel good. And notice if there's a little bit of awareness coming into the feet. If you like the idea of spacing out the toes, you can buy special gels or those, you can buy foam things for painting your toes. You can use those as spacers. And sometimes I sit at the computer with those between my toes just to space them out, give the little toes a break. And let's circle the ankle. Now we're ready to come up to standing. So nice and slowly, I want you to come into a forward fold. Feet hip width apart. Have a nice little dangle down. Walk the legs out. One knee bends, then the other knee bends, stretching the back of the legs. And walk your hands up the body, keeping the spine straight, or you can roll up like a rag doll, if that's okay for you. And let yourself arrive in this standing position on your mat. So come into mountain pose. Let's roll the shoulders back, draw the shoulder blades down, palms face forward, the chest lifts up. And I want you to bend the knees and let yourself drop into the floor, heavy, heavy, heavy into the floor. Then press down into the floor and straighten the knees. Don't lock them. A little softness behind the knees. And bring your weight forward towards the toes and back into the heels. Good. Feeling, where's the center of that? Little rock, maybe side to side. I want you to imagine there's 4 points on the base of your feet that we're trying to distribute the weight evenly between. And that's the ball of the foot just at the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, and then either side of the back of the heel. So think about those shapes on the bottom of your feet. Look down at the feet. I want you to lift the toes up. Lift the toes up, and then as you slowly place the toes back down, try and spread them out wider. I have to do the same with my fingers, and then the brain vaguely gives an instruction. One foot's always better than the other. Do that a couple of times. Lift the toes up, spread them out as you place them down. Okay? Really notice the sensations under your feet. Do we feel more grounded? Let's see. We're going to try our tree pose balance. So I want you to press into your left foot first. That's going to be our standing foot. Take a focus at something that's not moving, and that's going to help your drishti, your point of concentration. It's going to help the mind keep steady. I want you to lift the right knee up, okay, and take it out to the side. So the hands can be down by the side, maybe they come onto the hips. If your knee does not want to come up to hip height, if that's uncomfortable, then I don't want to see you struggling to get into tree pose with the foot up by your thigh. So wherever the foot comes to, bring it onto the leg. If it happens to come onto the knee, I'd rather have it lower, below the knee rather than above. If it's going to be above the knee, it needs to stay there and be comfortable there. press down into that standing foot with a little micro bend in the knee. And breathe. And notice how this compares to the balance at the beginning of the class. Might be the same, might be the balance is not there today. A couple more breaths if you can. You can bring the hands to the heart. Mine's had enough, I think my balance is gone. And settle down, bring that foot back onto the floor, good stuff. Ease the weight over into the other leg. Notice how one leg feels compared to the other. We've worked the muscles in one leg. Keep that right knee a little bit bent, don't lock it straight. Lift the left knee up and out to the sides. It might be different. This one might be higher or lower. Hands can be on the hips. You can bring them to the heart whenever you want to. Place the foot somewhere on the leg. And as much as the foot is resting onto the leg, I want the leg to push back into the foot. That's going to give you that stability, that growth up from the floor. But the foot wants you to feel like there's roots going down into the ground. Keep the breath going. We often hold our breath in balances. So keep the breath flowing. Ujjayi, if you can use it. Grounding breath, deep and slow. Really nice. Can you do a couple more breaths? Always the time when you're thinking, no, I can't. It's the real challenge comes in. And bring the feet down. Lovely. Now, do not worry if the wobbles were there. That's the challenge of balances. Okay, balances really help get you grounded, even if they feel like a struggle at the time. You can do them when you're cleaning your teeth, doing the washing up, do a little tree balance, and it will improve. Okay, let's take an earth sequence now. So feet may be a little wider than hip width apart. Bend in the knees, soft posture. And bring your hands to your heart to start with. On an inhale, I'm going to sweep them out to the sides and up above the head. Let the fingers lightly link at the top. And as you exhale, bring the palms down as though you're plunging down a cafetiere, coffee cafetiere. Good. And then on the inhale, bring the palms forward and up. And on the exhale, let them part. Sweep out to the side, all the way around to the heart again. Let's do that a couple more times. So bend the knees a little. Inhale, reach up, straightening the legs. Let the fingers link together. As you breathe out, push it down as though there's some resistance in the air. And you get your muscles of your arms working a little bit. As you inhale, hands come forward and up. Again, the legs straighten. Exhale, bring the hands round in a lovely circle. So we're working those shoulders and back to the heart. One more time like this. So inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, here comes that plunger. Take it right down, the hands right down to that root area. Good. And then forwards. And up. Drawing a lovely circle. And hands come to the heart. Now we're going to do each side. So take your left foot and take it a little bit forward of the right foot. Point it out at a little bit of an angle. Hands at the heart space. Inhale, arms go out and up. Link the fingers. As you plunge down now, bend that left knee and keep it bent as you push the palms away. Straighten the leg as you rise up again. Exhale, sweep the arms round. Bring them to the heart space. And don't worry if you want to go different rhythm to what I'm doing. Let's do the same side again. Inhaling up. See if you can work with your breath length. So let the inhale, exhales control when the next part of the movement begins. But you're leaning out as much as you can on this. I'm going to do it one more time this side. And don't worry if you arrive back in stillness before anyone else or after anyone else, doesn't matter. Bending that knee, pushing the palms away, rising up. When you bring the hands to the heart, doesn't matter if you haven't got there yet, you come back to facing the front, and we'll take a couple of breaths here, let the class come together before we do the other side. Okay, so taking the right foot out now, a little bit in front, a little bit out at an angle, facing that leg, hands at the heart, inhale. Here we go, 3 times. Plunging down, bending that right knee, and then pushing the arms out so you're trying to reach as far as you can whilst staying stable in that back foot. So we're staying grounded. Thinking about that connection under the feet. Can you think about how it feels? Reaching out and up on an inhale, down forwards. On the exhale, reaching away, stretching away. That's number 2, no rush. I'm going to do one more. Good. Feel the rhythm that your body wants to work at. It should be slow, but everybody's idea of slow is different. And the breath is different. What the length of the breath feels like today might be different to how you want to do it another day. Good. Come back to standing. And then I want you to take a turn to your right so that you're facing the long side of your mat. Actually, it doesn't matter which way you turn today, so whichever is easier to see me. And then a nice big wide stride with the toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat to start with. And this might be where you want to have blocks or a pile of books within grabbable distance. So yeah, maybe have them at the ready before we go anywhere. So I want you to think about stability here, planting the feet down into the floor. Going to inhale, take the arms out to the side. As we exhale, hinge from the hips forward. You can let the knees release a little bit. Nice big breath in halfway down. Exhale, let the hands come down to the floor. Okay, that means bending the knees, absolutely fine. If it means now finding a block or a pile of books to touch the floor, you bring the floor up to you. I'm going to do a twist from here. So even if you're just touching the floor, it might be nice to have a little bit of height underneath the hands. I leave it to you. And I want you to, let's turn the right foot out to start with. And we're going to keep the right hand in the center of our mat on a block or on a pile of books. Take the left hand to the hip. And then if it's okay to you, turn to the left. You can stay here, or you can stretch that left hand up into the air and take the mudra, that earth mudra. Ring finger touches the thumb lightly. Other fingers extend away. We're trying to roll the top shoulder open, spinning the heart to the sky. If that's uncomfortable in that top shoulder, bring the hand to the hip. Nice big breath here. And on the exhale, bring the hand down. I want you to imagine you're planting a seed into the earth. Straighten up the feet a little and we'll go the other side. So this time the left foot might want to go out at a little bit of an angle, as long as it's comfortable for you. And that left hand is going to stay on your support or on the floor. Right hand comes to the hip, lengthen through the spine and then turn. Okay, so it could be a big turn, it could be a little turn. And if it feels right to you, lift that right hand to the sky. Maybe making that gesture of the earth. Stretching out the fingers, the ring finger and the thumb are touching. Breathe into the twist, breathe into the stretch. Your gaze could be up at the sky, up at your fingers. It could be sideways or it could be down at the floor. I don't mind. See what feels good to you and in your neck. Big breath to finish. Exhale, bring the hand down. Imagine you're planting a seed into the floor. Good stuff. Point both toes out to the corners now. So you've got the toes facing away from each other, out at the corners. Going to bend the knees, deep bend in the knees. Bring the hands onto the hips, lengthen through the spine, push up. Inhale. Good. Straightening the legs and come down into goddess pose. So let's start like a star. Reach the fingers out to the sky. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the knees. Goddess pose. So the arms come down like a cactus. And ideally, the legs would look like the bottom of a cactus too. Like mine aren't going to look like that. You can heel toe the feet in a little bit. If that helps you get a little lower. Oh, can't go right angles. Good. Tuck that tailbone down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, draw energy down, root down. Okay, so sometimes Earth is, it's talked about as goddess, isn't it? Mother Earth. Think of that energy, that feminine energy of the Earth. Lovely. Inhale up all the way. Exhale the hands down. I want you to walk the feet a little closer together, say mat width apart, and your choice. If you're comfortable, the orientation you are, you can stay this way. Otherwise, you can turn back to the front of your mat, as long as you can see me clearly, doesn't matter. Have those blocks handy if you want to do a sitting down squat in a minute. Have a pile of things handy. And we're going to come into our squats gently, hands on the thighs. So toes can be straight ahead or they can point out a little angle. I like them out at a little angle. Going to inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, bend the knees, come down into a bit of a squat. I'm going to ease ourselves into this. So come up again. Exhale, see if the hips can go down a little bit lower this time. Well done. Watch those knees. You know what's best for you. Okay, inhale. Exhale down. And now, I either want you to grab hold of your shins or ankles and stay in this nice wide squat, if that's okay for you. Or you take your stack of books, place it under your hips, and you come down to them. Or you take those hips down, maybe bring the hands together, and you stay in a squat. So one of those three. Thighs might be working, okay? If it's not right on your knees, then you can come to sitting instead. We're going to do the same twist that we did when we were sitting. Going to take our right hand, going to touch it down to the floor. Maybe with that mudra, maybe it's fingertips to the floor. I'm going to lift the left hand up to the sky, taking our earth mudra, looking perhaps at the fingers or looking down at the earth, not thinking about our screaming thighs, not at all. Earth connection. Inhale there, exhale down to the floor. Let's swap it round. So we're taking the left hand inside the knee if you can, touching the floor, and then lengthening out. You could do this sitting, you could do it on your stack of blocks, or you could do it in your squat position. One more big breath. Exhaling down. Good. Let's ease those hips up and pedal out the legs a little bit. So bend the legs, sway the hips. We should feel a nice release after our squats. Let the head go into a forward fold, a little shake of the head, yes and no, release that neck. Good. And then you can ease yourself down onto the floor into a seated position with the legs out in front of you. And have a little shuffle. Make sure that there's good contact between sit bones and the floor. And coming into our staff pose, where we're looking for a 90-degree angle in the body, toes point up to the sky. We stretch out through the heels. If that's not comfortable for your legs, maybe get a rolled up towel or blanket, place it under the knees, just to give them that little bit of support, so you've got something you can push down into. And think of those hip bones, the sitting bones at the bottom of the hips, connecting with the ground, and draw energy up through the spine, so the heart is lifted, up through the crown of the head, but tucking the chin a little bit, so no sticking the chin out. We're trying to grow as tall as we can, and fingers or hands touching the ground. You might want to put a cushion or a block under your bum if this feels really uncomfortable on your back, okay? Try and draw yourself up nice and tall. Even sitting here, it looks like you're doing nothing. There's a lot of work going on. Thinking about connection, which parts of your body are touching the ground, which aren't. And we're going to take a little twist to salute the earth. Okay, if you don't want to take the twist, just take your hands to the side, keep your torso facing forward. But we're going to inhale here at the front. Let's go to the right first of all. Take your hands to the right of your body, maybe a little behind, and bow down towards the earth. Bow the heart towards the earth. Inhale, pressing yourself back up again. Come back to the center, hands touching the ground either side. Find Dandasana again, staff pose. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, hands going over to the left-hand side. Pressing yourself down towards the earth. This is kind of a twist and an arm balance, pushing yourself back up. Come to the center. Okay, we're going to do that again. So if you want to take the option of making it a light twist side to side, absolutely fine. Going to your right, leaning into the hands, legs stay stretching out, and bringing yourself back up. Take a moment in the center. Notice how this is affecting your body. These movements, deliberately challenging the relationship with our body with the ground. Coming up again, coming around to the front. Good. And then easing yourself down onto laying on your back. Taking a moment to shuffle the shoulders and the hips. We're not quite there at relaxation yet, but if you want to gather any blankets, socks, extra layers ready, have them nearby so you don't have to get up again. And let the back find the floor. I'm going to take a twist here. I want you to bring just the right knee up over the chest again. And you can choose to keep the left knee bent and flat on the floor, or stretch it out long. Good. So with that right knee over the chest, take your arms out to the side. Might be shoulder height, it might not quite be that far. Glue those shoulder blades to the floor. When we're doing a lying twist like this, we're going to try and keep both shoulders on the floor. Don't worry if that doesn't quite happen. Breathe in. As you breathe out, let that right knee come over to the left. Okay, so the left hip is going to lift up in the air. Try not to let that, the right hip's going to lift up in the air. Try not to let that right shoulder lift with it. And then find somewhere for the foot to land. It might land on the outside of the knee. It might land on the inside of the knee. You might want to rest the ankle on top of the knee. And if it's better for you to have both knees bent and the knees stacked together, try that. We've got lots of options there, but we're taking ourselves into a lying twist. I'm all for having a fidget, taking the hips back a little further. Find a lying twist that's comfortable for you. You can choose whether the nose stays pointing up to the sky or now turns away from the knees. So it'll be pointing towards your right hand, taking the twist all the way through the body. Once you've established yourself in your lying twist, see if it's right for you to close your eyes, come inwards, and I want you to think about the connection with the ground. What parts of the body are touching the earth? What parts are lifting off of it? Notice how that feels. And then we let gravity do its work in this posture. Every exhale, we see if we can release a little more, relax into the earth. And there's going to be parts of the body that are gripping, holding on, maybe parts that are tight. By the way, if this is not right for you to stay in a twist, if the spine doesn't like this, then you're welcome to come to lying on your back and take gentle windscreen wipers with the knees, something much more mild on the body. If it feels good, go with it. A little bit of tightness, a little bit of discomfort is fine, as long as there's no sharp pain. Exhaling out, releasing. So looking for those tight areas, breathe in so you can send the breath into that space. And then exhale out the tension. A couple more breaths on this side. And then the knees float back up towards the ceiling. Feet find the ground. Wriggle the hips and shoulders so everything's back in line. Nice central line again. Laying on the earth. Just notice any effect, the rebound effect after twisting one way before we do the other side. And then lift your left knee over the chest and give it a squeeze there. Decide whether it feels nice to stretch the right leg away straight or whether you want to keep that knee bent as well. Absolutely fine. Up to you what you do. You can always change your mind when we get into the twist. And taking the arms out shoulder height. Let that knee, the left knee, drop over to the right hand side. Maybe the knees are stacked now on top of each other. If not, find a way for the foot, the left foot, to find something to balance on the ground, the leg, stack of cushions. And what happened this time with the left shoulder? Has it lifted up and rolled you over with it? Don't worry if that happened. Just see if a little shift of the hips might help get you more comfy, and then focus on letting that shoulder come back down towards the earth. So have a fidget and then see if you can stay with it, your twisting pose. Investigate turning the head away from the bent knees. How does that feel? Do you want to close the eyes? Does that help you come inwards? Scan through the body, looking for areas of tightness with curiosity, accepting that they're there, sending the breath to them. Breathing in, and then as you exhale out, inviting that tension to float away with the breath into the ground, into the earth. Good. Seeing how much of the body we can get down onto the floor. Okay, and this doesn't mean forcing and striving. It means letting go. Gravity works for us in this posture. So without gravity, there wouldn't be the planets, the shape of the solar system, the universe, these forces of gravity that draw matter together. So feel yourself drawn down to the earth, into the crust of the earth, down towards the center. Good. One more deep breath We'll finish this side. Inhale is going to float the knees back up towards the ceiling and feet find the ground. Let the hands come closer to the body. And you might want to have a stretch out. You might want to take the hands above the head and feet long. You might want to do the opposite. You might want to bring the knees over the chest for a hug, maybe a rock from side to side. That will soothe the back, massage the hips, shoulders. Lovely. Drop the feet to the floor. We'll take bridge pose to finish before we go into our relaxation. So heels walk up close towards the hips. Press the feet into the floor. Hands are down beside the hips, palms down on the floor. Shoulder, head relaxed, and they want to stay that way. As we inhale, we press the feet into the ground. We lift the hips up off the floor. We lengthen the hips away from the shoulders, opening the front of the body. As we exhale, we roll down the spine, trying to make the hips the last thing that comes down to the ground. And keep that going. So imagine you've got a string of pearls on a tabletop and you're trying to lift up one pearl at a time. And then as you exhale, you're trying to replace one pearl at a time. So each vertebra going down to the floor one at a time. If there's a big chunk coming down all together, just work a little more slowly on that part next time you go up and down. This is lovely flexibility for the spine. Feel grounded. If this is too strong, then take it into those pelvic tilts again that we did at the beginning of the class. Okay, and we're not going to stay up in bridge today. We're going to keep moving dynamically because I want this idea of coming down to the earth, coming back down to the earth. The final one, your next inhale, you're going to lift the hips. See if you can lift them really high as you can, pushing into the feet. And then slowly, maybe it takes 2 breaths, slowly roll down. Rolling down with attention. Each part of the back, the spine, finding the floor. Hips spread out as they reach the floor. That delicious feeling of support underneath them. And now you get to choose your posture for an earth meditation. So you're welcome to roll to your side and come to sitting. But if you want to stay with maximum amount of body in connection with the earth, choose to take your feet wide apart and let the knees rest together. That's going to keep this lumbar area lifted off the ground. It might be more comfortable. Or you can stretch your legs out long, let the toes drop out to the side. See how it feels to turn the palms up to the sky, the backs of the hands on the earth. See how much of your body is going to touch the ground today. Make yourself comfortable. Allow the eyes to close. Bring your attention back to the breath. Feel the belly rise and fall. Feel the body move on the floor. Feel the ground underneath you taking your weight. Allow yourself to release and relax. Check in with the jaw. Let there be a little space between the teeth. Soft tongue. Relaxed in the mouth. Let the skin on the face soften and relax, smoothing out any frown lines across the forehead, around the eyes. Let the shoulders drop away a little more. Let the arms be heavy. Feel the points that are in contact with the ground. Feel the heart beating gently in the chest. Feel the back on the floor. Let the hips widen a little more, softening down into the ground. And the legs be heavy, toes not held in any particular way. Know that you're safe and secure. Notice the sensation of being supported, being held. Begin to experience a pleasant state of heaviness. Imagine you are lying on softly, recently tilled earth that had been gently warmed by the sun. There's this softness that you can melt down into, as though your body is making more and more of an imprint down into the earth. And reflect upon the qualities of the earth underneath you, that strength, that stability to hold and support you. The idea that the earth is quiet and peaceful, still. Connect into those qualities as if now you are rooting yourself down into the soil, into the earth, becoming strong, stable, taking on those qualities of stillness, of peace. Feel the whole body relaxing into this. Your muscles releasing tension. Your mind becoming quiet and calm. If the mind slips away from this meditation, gently let go of your thoughts and bring it back to these qualities: strength, stability, stillness, quiet, peace. Taking a couple of nice deep inhales now. Drawing the energy into the body. In the body, the element of earth relates to the framework, the skeletal structure, the bones, the muscle, the tissue. Slowly start to wake up the physical body with little movements with the fingers and toes. Using your muscles, exploring your skeletal structure as you move now limbs, or maybe roll the head, wherever is comfortable for you to do so. Maybe hugging one knee to the chest and the other. Starting to wake up this physical body, gross matter, the density, the solidity of the body, making us feel strong and stable, giving us structure. Gently rolling yourself onto your right hand side and resting there a moment. Knees bent, you can support the head with your hand if you like. Feeling the caring, nurturing qualities of the earth. Press the hands into the ground. Gently push yourself up to a seated posture. Good. And bring your hands to the heart space. Let's thank the earth for the stability that she brings us on the inhale, opening the arms out, letting the palms join together at the top. On the exhale, sighing it out as you bring the hands back to the heart space. One more time like that. Big energizing inhale, soothing and relaxing exhale. You can keep the hands here at the heart. You can join in with me if you want with an Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It's up to you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shanti meaning peace. Let's take a bow to peace that we can find from this feeling of groundedness from our yoga practice. Bowing to the element of earth and the nurturing qualities that it gives us. Namaste.